It's such a valid question. How do you trust again after being abused? Well, first of all, I really deeply believe through my own journey and helping so many other people not just heal from narcissistic abuse, but fully step into their confidence and their ability to be able to generate healthy relationship, have an open heart whilst being safe with powerful boundaries. You have to completely flip the script on what you thought were your requirements for trust. Because this is the thing, there is no requirement for you to trust anybody else. And you may think that that sounds pretty crazy, Melanie, but I want you to deeply understand what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is there is only one entity that you ever have control over: yourself. So you could be with the most, in inverted commas, trustworthy person on the planet, and maybe, something happens to them and, God forbid, that they were to have, some kind of condition where all of a sudden they flip out and they become manic and they become mental and they're not the person that you thought they were. Or maybe the person that you deeply love and you're connected to gets hit by a bus. There are so many unknown quantities that could happen in life to derail the life that we thought that we had as per our connection to somebody else. So what does this mean? This really means that the truest relationship that we are ever going to have is the relationship that we have with ourselves and our connection to source, our higher power. You may call this God or consciousness or your superconscious or the universe or whatever you want to call this higher power. And as an adult, we have an ability to have a relationship directly with our higher power where we can be whole and we can be a self and we can make choices and decisions that are actually in alignment with that self without the childish dependency that we've actually had when we've still been broken children in adult bodies because of having childhood trauma or inherited trauma from our parents, or just taking on the traumas of our gender or our race or our human condition, where we haven't felt safe to be ourselves in our body and in this life. That means that we've still got insecure, broken, unhealed parts within us. And when we're like that, and it's been our normal until we do the inner work on it, what it means is that we're seeking our salvation, our wholeness, our self from outside of ourselves. And we create very unhealthy dependencies with people. And they become our source of love, approval, survival, and security. They become our outside false source rather than creating the wholeness and the self between ourselves and source. So then what happens is things start happening in as in this person will hurt us or demean us or do things that are disloyal or adulterous or pathological, or they'll lie, or they'll try to control us, or they'll neglect us, or whatever it is. And if we're not a source of self, we're going to cling to this person and try to force them being the healthy, safe person that can love and approve of us and grant us survival and security so that we can feel safe and whole and a self. And what this is doing is this is putting the cart in front of the horse, where the cart is going to roll back on the horse and squash it. It doesn't work that way. It defies quantum law. And for those of us who've lived from the outside in until living from the inside out, absolutely, it's terrifying who you give your heart to, because your heart, your soul, your life, and your well-being relies on how well they do or don't treat you, rather than how well you are or you are not treating yourself. So we have to flip the script. And for myself, moving forward into healthy relationship, not just with a beautiful, intimate partner who I have in my life now and have for some years, as well as the relationships that I have with friends and family and work colleagues and, all sorts of professional relationships. There is absolutely now no necessity for me to trust somebody else. The necessity is for me to trust me. And what does that mean? That meant that I had to establish my values and my truths, which are things like honesty and kindness and teamwork and solution building and transparency and humility, taking personal responsibility. Those are my values. That's how I wish to live my own life, and the work I do on myself to show up as a better human being every day is something I'm deeply invested in. And it's also something that I wish to co-generate with others and experience with others. And for me now, people who aren't kind, who are ego-driven, who don't take personal responsibility, who are pathological liars, who are not interested in solution building and teamwork, are just not my thing. They're not my gig. They're not my reality. And I just don't play with people like that anymore. How do I work out who is that and who is not that? By deeply, authentically being myself. If something's feeling a bit off with people that I would meet, I'm prepared to have the difficult conversations. I'm prepared to do my due diligence. I take my time. I don't allow people straight into my life on a whim, on a chemical reaction of like, oh my God, this feels all so shiny and wonderful and incredible. Whereas in the past, before healing myself to wholeness and a whole self and having a relationship with my higher self, I was empty and needy. And the expression that people who are hungry make the worst grocery shoppers. If you're starving hungry and you aren't satiated with beautiful nutrients and well-being, you're going to go into a supermarket and put junk and rubbish in your cart. And you can't wait to get out of there to start eating it. And I used to put more thought into into buying a pair of shoes than I did my deep, impactful relationships. And that's the truth, because I used to get the chemical hit and the excitement and the buzz and the feeling and just fall straight in there. I used to let people into my heart, my hearth, my home, and sadly, even my being and my body, without taking my time to ascertain, does this person have the values and the character that are my values and my truths and my alignments for the choices in my life? And it takes time to ascertain that. But the thing is, if we're not a solid, healthy self and we haven't done that self-development work, well, then we are needy and hungry and starving and don't know our boundaries and throw away our rights. We're like, well, I don't want to speak up. I don't want to investigate. I don't want to question. I don't want to take my time because maybe this person's going to crap on me, and the acronym of crap is they're going to criticize me for that. They might reject me. They may abandon me. They may even try to punish me. But when you're a self, you welcome all of that showing up, because if you were to ask the question, or if you were about to get into a business deal and you said, well, can you give me references? I want to check out your credentials. And you did your due diligence and this person tried to guilt you out of it, or tried to twist and turn it, or threatened you with, you're going to miss the deal. When you're a self, you go, well, thank you for letting me know who you are, and there's the door. Because when you're a solid self, you know that credible, whole people take their time. They're not in a rush. They also do their due diligence. They don't want to rush you off to bed within 10 minutes of meeting you, or maybe even 10 days of meeting you, because they're making a solid, serious decision as well. And if somebody's not going to wait for you while you are ascertaining who they are, well, then they're not for you. So how do we trust again? I promise you, when you develop yourself and when you know that you are listening to your gut, you're able to show up, you're able to ask the difficult questions, you're able to do the due diligence, you are prepared to lose it all to get it all. That if you show up and you trigger somebody and they're not, and of course you can do it kindly, responsibly, and maturely. That's what mature adults do. And when we step into being that adult for ourselves, we see who's going to meet us at a vibrational level of integrity, decency, teamwork, and maturity, which is exactly what you want in your relationships, whether it be a friendship, whether it be an intimate partner, whether it be a work contract. These are exactly what you want. And if you can do the inner work to get rid of those childish traumas that they were our normal, we didn't know we had them, and they're such a part of the human experience, and I had tons of them. I had the terrors of being criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished. I had the fears of being empty and alone and nobody's coming and nobody's here for me. You know, I was as thirsty as that woman in a desert, and if something that looked like an oasis showed up, I was like that woman who'd found her oasis, because I was literally parched to death because I didn't know how to release traumas and fill myself up and be whole and solid in my body, able to go through life, not at all scared of narcissists, not at all scared. Bring them on. No, because the thing is, when you heal up on the inside, you know that everything's out there. And this is not about, oh my God, I need to trust other people. No, you don't. There are some people you will never be able to trust. Accept it. Get good with it. Realize that and stop playing victim to that. There is everything out there, from the most beautiful and honorable to the most dirty, disgusting, and evil. That's the truth. And it's not about who are they being. It's about who are you being? Who are you prepared to be? Because when you get with somebody who's not in integrity and in authenticity, all you have to do is listen to your gut. Really, you've needed to do the inner work, so you're not going to be triggered and hand your power away like we do when we still feel like a helpless, broken child on the inside, looking for a parent to come and make it all better. That makes us so susceptible to narcissistic abuse. So, you know, I would say to you, before getting into an intimate love relationship or even considering it, mate your own soul first. Do the inner work. And this is where NARP is so powerful. The people in our community who've got the most beautiful, up-leveled, thriver, intimate partner relationships that bear no resemblance to the narcissistic relationships in their past, they became the people on the inside that they needed to become to generate such a relationship, to be attracted to be attractive to, attracted and attractive to the match for where they'd up-level their inner being to be, which is somebody with decency and integrity who matches their new inner love code of solidness and wholeness and self-development and self-partnering on the inside. And then you will actually have the people come into view that, you know, spark your radar, who match that vibration. before doing the inner work, the people that feel attractive to you are the ones that match your traumatized inner love code, which is the people I love hurt me, reject me, abandon me, punish me, annihilate me, cheat on me, replace me, even annihilate me. You know, if that's your inner traumatized love code that you haven't done the work on, love equals those things. You're going to be attracted to the people that are more of the same. Especially narcissists, because they walk into your life all shiny and new. They know how to find your insecurities and the parts of you that are hurting, and they pretend to be the savior of them. And then we just fall in like the parched woman in the desert who comes across her oasis. That used to be me. Become your own saver, make your own soul. Fully self-partner, heal, and up-level to a beautiful, solid sense of self. And when you do that, you trust yourself. You know you could be sitting with a narcissist and they're trying to find your gaps and your bits, and you're just speaking to them as an up-leveled, empowered, solid, healthy, whole human being. And you're casing them, right? Not in a paranoid kind of way. You're asking questions. You're showing up. You're not scared of triggering them. If they say something that feels a bit off, you're going to challenge it and see how they respond. And, you know, if this person got past your test, you would take your time. You jump it. Don't hand them all of your time. You're going to keep your interests and your life going and date them respectfully and take your time to ascertain their character before you let them into your heart, your hearth, your home, or your body, and especially your soul. And you'll date other people at the same time to see who is the most suitable suitor, whether you're a man or a woman, and who is going to really shine and meet your values and your truths. And you're whole and solid enough and in love with being in your body and being with life that you don't care how long it takes. You're not needy, you're not empty. And I promise you, no narcissistic person gets through that. They show themselves very, very quickly. Because when you're an authentic, bright, shining light in your body, good with source and self, and you are totally invested in your self-development and the growing of yourself, what happens is you are shining a bright light on false selves. They unravel. They cannot stand in the presence of that and keep up the charade. They completely and utterly expose themselves. That's how you're going to be so safe. And then in relationship, when you get into relationship, if you need to speak up, if you need to, and you will, all relationships are like that. You know, it's like in my relationship, there were times when we had to have those conversations about, you know, this is the truth for me. It may not be your truth. If it's not, that's okay. But we can't be together. If you want to meet me here at this level of this truth, which is the only way I can live authentically, well, then by all means do. But you need to choose that, and it needs to be right for you. And if it's not, well, then we're not going to be right for each other. No? So it's never about changing other people. It's about being yourself and inviting people to meet you at a higher level of authenticity and truth. And if it's not for them, it's not for them. But you will be astounded how many people want that. And they are capable of standing up with that. But if people don't have the capacity or the desire, you're going to find that out very quickly. And you bless them and you let them go. Because when you are good with self and source, you know there is more where that comes from. And I promise you there is. But you have to be it to generate it. I really hope that this has inspired you. And I would love you to check out NARP. Okay, have a look at it. It's in the show notes, the link with this video, because that is exactly how, after years of struggling and trying to do my inner work to get relationships right, NARP is what delivered me there, and it has delivered thousands of people in this beautiful, incredible Thriver community out of the patterns of abusive, untrustworthy relationships into deeply inspiring ones. And I hope that I've inspired you to know you don't have to live your life alone. You can if you wish. That's your choice. But you don't have to. You have so much richness, beauty, and love for you to experience. And speaking of that, all my love to you. Lots of love. Bye-bye.